Inherit states that Shackleton has the smallest bank in the world. We'll further explore if there's any merit to that, but there's no denying how small of a structure it is. Shackleton is found within the Wheatbelt region of Western Australia, specifically on the Bruce Rock Quarrying Road near the Salt River, about 200 kilometres east of Perth. And yes, the town is named after the Antarctic explorer Ernest Shackleton. The surrounding area is known for sheep and growing wheat. Cooperative Bulk Handling has a receival site that dominates the eastern side of town. The bank building only measures 3 by 4 metres. It's a timber frame structure with weatherboard cladding. It even includes a veranda. While it was locked on my visit, it's so small that there's nothing you can't see through the 3 windows. The inside is split between 2 rooms, with a dividing wall in the centre. In the front, you can see a service desk complete with stationery and paperwork. And there's not much in the back room, just another desk. I did notice some information sheets on the walls, so it would have been nice to read those. But as a bonus, there is a disused train line across the road. I'm already in love with Shackleton. The town history is somewhat interesting, since while it's been a town for nearly 100 years, it's only been official for half of that. In 1913, a local landowner named Dr. Walter German privately surveyed the lots for this town. As such, the main road is named after him. This happened before the train line too, which is considered unusual for that time, but not by much. Rail arrived in the town the same year, and Shackleton acted as a siding. At its peak, the rail line ran between York and Bruce Rock. Sections were gradually closed over the years, with a full closure in the 1990s. Not much remains of the railway in Shackleton these days, and the level crossings are long gone, but you will find a sign, a crane, and the remains of the track. Shackleton began to flourish after a steady water supply became available in 1916. This arrived via a Keller-Burren spur line on the Goldfields water scheme. Stay tuned for a future video about that. The railway department unsuccessfully lobbied that the pipe extend to Cowan instead, 7 kilometres down the road, so they could establish railway barracks. It was a preferred location simply because it had a pub. This was vetoed by local farmers, however, as they objected to paying the associated water rates a pipeline would bring. They were happy instead to rely on groundwater. So, without a guaranteed supply of water, businesses instead flocked to nearby Shackleton. Cowan currently exists as a campsite/ghost town, so go figure. Shackleton was not gazetted as a town until 1925, although this was only for quote, rating purposes and remained private. However, the boundaries would be properly defined and gazetted in 1951. The township was then extended to cover the nearby York Bruce Rock Road in 1960, which I guess has since been renamed to the Bruce Rock Quarrying Road. As per the information sign across the road from the bank, Shackleton peaked in the 1950s. During this time, the town included a post office, a co-op, an agricultural agency, a newsagent, a baker, 2 butchers, a drapery, a greengrocer, and a garage. Oddly, there is no pub. There was one in nearby Qualian, but that burnt down in 1992. Poor Qualian. There is a club, however, which was formed in 1954 out of a large house. That's still there today and seems quite active. I'll meet you all there for Shacktoberfest. Shackleton also had a school that was founded in 1923. That was led by a Mrs. Leedman, who was the wife of a local storekeeper. It operated in a local hall with 13 pupils. Eventually, dedicated buildings were constructed between the 20s and 50s, but it has not operated since 1991. It would have been cool to check out closer, but the remaining buildings are now private property. What other fun facts can we glean about Shackleton? Well, for one, a football team was founded in 1925. This was disbanded in 1970, however, and it doesn't look like the oval has been used for much since. There is an active bowls club, however. As of 2021, the population is 114. That's an increase of 96 from the 2016 census, but appears to have peaked at 189 on the 1954 census. It would be larger in the surrounding area, however. The bank building was originally for a blacksmith in nearby Bruce Rock on Butchers Street, but was transported to Shackleton in 1929. Originally, it was the Agricultural Bank of Western Australia. This was set up by the state government to service farmers. Before the building arrived, banking was carried out in the local general store and post office, but only for several hours each week. The new building was mostly brought in for security reasons. I read that the bank manager from Bruce Rock would stand guard while a teller serviced the customers. That teller was not allowed to engage in casual conversation. But apparently, it was okay for the same bank manager to then mingle with the customers at the Shackleton Club later on in the evening. The tiny building has served several other purposes over the decades too. It was an aircraft observation post during World War II, from the veranda, naturally. It was also a child health outpost before the Country Women's Association building was constructed in 1954. By the 1930s, it was operated by the Bank of New South Wales, but eventually changed to an R&I branch. As we all know, they changed their name to Bankwest in 1994, which was its final form, until it closed for good in 1997. By then, it was only open every Friday afternoon from 3 to 4:30. It wasn't a very active small bank, but it was an official active small bank nonetheless. I thought this being stated as the smallest bank building in Australia or even the world would be easily debunked, but I struggled to find anything else, active or otherwise. There are news articles from 2013 talking about a bank in Germany that is only run by a single man, but that's not a building. I'm sure he operates out of a larger premise. He probably even has a bathroom. The most similar structure I found is also in Australia. In the small town of Silkwood, Queensland, is a former NAB branch. This was built in the 1930s and operated until 1999. I couldn't find much information, let alone dimensions, but a rough measurement in Google Maps shows 7 by 5 meters. Remember, Shackleton is documented as 3 by 4 meters, so take that, Queensland! I want to thank a viewer named Lee for reaching out by email and recommending this topic for a video. I encourage all suggestions for future videos. So far, I've received some absolute pearlers that I wasn't aware of, like this tiny bank. It's here in Shackleton that I learned that flocks of galahs don't like drones. It got absolutely swarmed and required an emergency landing right over the top of the bank. I wish I had a better shot, but since the camera was facing down, you can just see a glimpse of several feathers for a split second. This is the first video that's a result of a Kalgoorlie-based filming trip I've just returned from. I've released several behind the scenes videos that are accessible to YouTube members. The support program is $3 a month and can be cancelled at any time. That $3 includes the extra content, shows your username at the end of the videos, and also highlights any comments you might make. All money earned goes into the production of future videos. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.